I said, hey, yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Mojados, and we're back with another video. I hope you guys are doing well, because today we're going to be talking about XRP here, what to expect next, how I think it's all going to play out. And if you watched last week's video, or I said last week, I meant to say last month's video, because we do monthly updates, then good for you, because as you guys know, I was very bullish about what I expect next for XRP, and I actually want to share here really quickly a clip of what I expected next, and I just want to pretty much show you guys the thought process behind each and every single one of these videos. So let's take a quick look at last month's video. And I'm going to tell you guys again, this could be the first hint that we were looking for. This wick right here, guys, this long wick that takes place above and closes very nicely around 34 cents, could be the first sign that the bottom is in. And that's it. It's that damn simple, right? And I talked about way more things as well in the video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's 19 minutes long, of course. I'm going to do a recap here, so you don't need to watch it. But if you want to go back and take a look before, we saw another move on this chart that led us to basically going up, another 30%, you can go ahead and check it out. But the point of it all is that, there's hints across the chart. Every single thing, it usually happens for a reason. There's a buildup sometimes taking place. And I want to focus on the macro in this video, right? This is basically a monthly macro view. So we're going to be talking about that again and what we expect. Of course, the last month's video was a win compared to today. But of course, we must take into to consideration what we expect next, of course. And again, we're going to cover all of that. But of course, let's start back with the full picture, right? So taking a look at this range here, this is the 2-week range. You're seeing wicks on the top and you're seeing a deviation on the bottom, right? So this is, again, goes in line with what I talk about on this channel quite a bit. Seeing people get flushed out of both sides. In 2018, you see people get flushed out of the highs, flushed out of the lows, and then continuing to range, right? So you get this area here that retests this range high, and the question remains, when we do break out this range, where will it go, right? Is it going to break down or up? And that's the question. Now, obviously, I believe that the momentum behind this whole entire buildup is going to push the price higher, right? That's my personal opinion. Obviously, you don't have to agree with that. But the reason why is because we're continuing to see momentum to the upside. We saw pretty much a full-on correction here, if you will, throughout this whole range, okay? And, when people say, what are the targets? You can easily take this fractal and, they get some crazy targets sometimes. I'm going to be very conservative just for the sake of this video. We can easily see a $14.41 target. And, the reason why I'm coming up with a target like that, and, I'm so confident in saying that, is because I'm just using a simple extension, right? And you can use Fibonacci extensions, you can use, some fractals. But if you look at any other chart, the same way you look at this chart, and let's just look at Tesla, for example, here, right? You get the same kind of style, right? Where you don't get the same kind of, range per se, because of course, every chart is going to play out a little bit differently, right? But you can even use this high and use this range low, right? Where these areas were acting as liquidity grabs and these areas were also liquidity grabs, but to the upside. But this was the main range. This is where the price spent most of the time and not on the upper bound of this range, kind of forcing and tricking traders out of longs and shorts on both sides. And what happens is eventually, after so much time pent up in this range, right? What is this? 2,100 days, guys. 2,100 fucking days of going sideways in this range. And you can see here, guys, this is on the weekly 2-week time frame, 2036 days, so 2036 days in this range before Tesla did a 33x off of that low. So at $11 you saw the shares, and then they went all the way up to 400 and somewhat dollars. So that's amazing. And what I'm trying to get at is, guys, this range is being pent up. You're seeing a lot of basically sideways price action in this range that will soon take us to new highs, in my personal opinion. Now, of course, could I be wrong? Of course I can be wrong. Anybody can be wrong. This is just forecasting. I'm sharing reasons why I believe it. And of course, when we look at what's happening on this chart, we're still sitting above this level here, right? Which is about 30 cents, which is very bullish. So the bears have not been able to take that down yet. And we're kind of consolidating at this level. So with that, taking a look at it from a range perspective, I'm going to change the chart now to give you guys a different perspective. But ideally, you're seeing basically 1900 days here now officially in this range. You've seen liquidity on both sides taken already. So now the question is, whichever way this does break out, you're going to see a massive breakout, not just a little one. And now we're going to fast forward to the chart where I use supply and demand zones. And of course, as you can see here, this is going to be areas of resistance and support, right? So green is support, red is resistance. As you can see, multiple times at this resistance, we see price get rejected, right? And you can see when it does flip over, it acts as support, right? So, at this period in time, this wasn't always red because, of course, resistances turn to supports, supports turn over to resistances, right? So at this time, I'm going to put a circle here, this became support, but it couldn't pretty much hold it. So what happens is it broke back down and then it acted as a resistance again. So that's why I was so confident. If you even go back to the video back in September, the monthly video, I talked about a range where we go back up to this high. Now, the real question is, if we can get back above 50 cents, then I'm going to sit here and I'm going to actually tell you that the bottom is in for XRP or was in and put in at 30 cents and that we're probably going to go much, much higher. And of course, with this lawsuit brewing up and the fact that XRP is delisted in US exchanges, a lot of this pressure right now is being pent up. And that's part of the reason why I think we're sitting in this range. Otherwise, we probably would have seen a new all-time high already, in my personal opinion, or at least back in 2021. So with that taken into consideration, there's obviously another example that takes us to the downside where, of course, we don't even get that high here, and then we break down lower to this support region at 24 cents. And that is, in my opinion, becoming less likely. And I was kind of advocating that before, but I'm actually going to tell you now that I'm very confident that that's less likely. And the reason why that's less likely is because this wick that we see here is very, very strong. It kind of indicates that some type of a local bottom is in, and that's kind of what happened, right? We spoke about that last month, and we got a nice move off of it. And so in order for me to get bearish again down to 22 cents, 25 cents, or whatever the hell region down here in the green box area, because as you can see, this has historically been a support, right? Down here, over there, over here and there. I mean, of course you have a deviation here, but for the most part, this holds very, very well. So, I think it's just less likely to get back down here, and mostly because the RSI is actually doing a very good job of pretty much holding up at this level right now. And, that's one reason why I believe that's going to pretty much hold. But, if you look at the XRP BTC chart, which we're also going to jump into just a moment, we're also sitting at support. So basically, all these things combined, including the XRP chart, which nobody looks at. This is basically another example of being at support. So you have all these charts at support. You have the cryptocurrency market cap chart at support. You have XRP kind of sitting at a area of support right here, going back to May 2017. This this supply zone, demand zone, which basically holds up price. And I'm going to quickly show you that demand zone as well, because I think a lot of us might be missing this gray box that I have drawn right here. So this gray box that I have drawn, guys, is definitely a support zone. And the reason why I have it marked green is because I just wanted to show you guys an easier and simpler example for the extremes, right? But this area, don't be confused. This gray box is 100% a support zone, right? Especially right now, because you can see clearly every single time we hit it, we have some type of reaction, right? It pushes off of it. Now, of course, the reason why I have it gray right now is because it's possible that we do break down and this become a resistance. But with the momentum that we're seeing across the RSI, right, pretty much gaining momentum up to the 50 region, that's very bullish. We're also seeing price coil up in this range here. That's another bullish sign, right? And we're also going to be talking about the XRP dominance chart in a minute, but this is also at support as well. So you have the cryptocurrency market cap chart, which is very bullish, and it tells a different story, right? Because usually what we see here is this sideways price action that we see, but this is a different story, right? You can clearly see here 5 waves for XRP, and this is, to me, is very, very clear, right? Is it possible that we're sitting and watching another wave play out here? Are we going to see an extension like this play out? Now, this is obviously very possible. I'm just putting this, you know, in a simple consumable manner. Obviously, it can play out in multiple different ways, so long as wave 2 does not retrace past wave 1. Of course, it can play out multiple different ways, but this is very interesting because this tells us, again, a different story, that the RSI is pretty much, again, building up here the same way it did here for wave 2 on this 2014 run, right? Getting back above the 50 RSI level, which is what we're seeing now. And again, we're sitting in the range. And remember, it's always very, very easy to see after it happens. But right now, it's possible that we're building up to a move that is now going to start playing out, you know, where we see like basically like a strong impulse. And that's what I'm getting at. It's very, very possible, especially with this lawsuit pretty much coming to an end somewhere around March. We can see a very, very fast move, a violent move, because that's usually how XRP moves. You know, you get a lot of speed behind these movements, you know, and it's shown that throughout history that these moves are very quick. And it's actually very easy to know when XRP is trending or not, because if it stops moving up, that's pretty much a sign that, hey, listen, momentum has stopped. Let's take it easy for a second and pump the brakes, because maybe it's not exactly how we expected it to be. So with that, I want to take a quick look at the XRP BTC chart. Now this looks, you know, pretty good as well. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm actually going to pull up the monthly chart. I think I actually had it over here labeled, so I'm going to actually refix this chart. But I just think this chart is beautiful because it's sitting at a support. And you can clearly see that. But I think on this chart I had it. So yeah, it's basically this trend line that we have, where, you know, as long as the price is above this level, we're gonna see pretty much bullish momentum, right? And again, this is the same story that I'm talking about, right? The RSI. So this is the BTC chart for XRP. When price gets above this level, guys, you know, you can clearly see here that we're usually ripping, and if we're not ripping, we're building up momentum to rip, right? And guys, you know, really quickly here, you can see off of that 53x, off of that low there, I'm sure that it's not going to play out exactly the same, because this can definitely play out in a few different ways. But the 2-week chart is not very, very clean, but we're definitely getting some type of ugly looking structure. Of course, you know, this is definitely, you know, some bullish divergence. I'm not too crazy about this chart, but I will say though that we're still above a pivotal level, which is the most important thing in this chart that you want to definitely focus on. It's not something that I'm like, you know, gonna live and die by, but listen, it's bullish right now, so I'm gonna take that. The weekly is not bad at all, and I think that definitely there's something pretty much building up here on this chart, so long as this level holds. So 1500 sats is where I'm, you know, focusing a lot on, and so long as that level is not broken, then that's it. We're pretty much gonna run there. And you know, if you really wanted to break this down, we're looking at a pretty interesting fractal here, where you get like a left shoulder, a head, and then potentially a right over here, which definitely led us to a breakout. And you know, that can be viewed in many different ways, right? This can be considered some type of 1, 2, 3, or some type of ABC, but it doesn't really matter, because this chart is extremely explosive. Okay, it does not act normal. This shit usually just breaks out in a straight line. Like, this is the most ugliest price action you can ask for, but that's why you have to play it level by level, right? So as long as it's holding above 1500 sats, it doesn't really matter. And I'm gonna conclude this video by showing 2 more charts that shows that people are rotating out of altcoins into, rotating out of stable coins into altcoins and Bitcoin. And this is basically the USDC and USDT chart. And you can see here that people are selling their stable coins to go into, cryptocurrencies, right? So it's very, very interesting to see that. And also, one last thing, we're looking at the total chart, and I'm gonna keep repeating this, right? When this chart gets above 1.13 trillion, when we break up past this level, forget about it, okay? Because at that point, the whole market would have bottomed. The bottom will be in across the whole entire cryptocurrency market, no matter what you say. And I'm gonna be telling you guys, I'm gonna put the most clickbaitiest thumbnails for it, because this level is gonna confirm that everything is bottomed. And I think we're heading towards that level where we either act as a resistance here at 1.13, or we break above it. So again, please, don't take this as financial advice, but this is what I'm looking at, right? I use multiple indicators. I'm seeing bullish signs across the total chart. I'm looking at people, with stable coins. They're starting to slowly inch out. The BTC chart for XRP also does not look bad at all. And again, you look at the dominance chart, we're holding at a very critical level, which is very, very bullish. And the final thing I want to share is just the XRP chart, because it's very, very simple. You don't need to complicate it. We're sitting in a range and it's very, very bullish. The monthly closes were not bad at all. So what can I say, guys? I mean, listen, 1,800 days or 1,900 days now, the lawsuit is pretty much concluding. We have 1 or 2 months left before we get some type of verdict that will definitely, make this lawsuit, very, very clear for the people who are not paying attention. Right, we're going to get a verdict in our favor or not in our favor, but whether or not it's not in our favor, I mean, it's kind of hard to see that, because what we saw in the library lawsuit, they've already deemed that secondary sales are not securities, so XRP is in the clear. So the worst that can happen to Ripple is that maybe they get a fine for previous sales. I don't know how it looks, but in any way that I try to shape it, the bad case is still bullish, but the most bullish case is crazy to me, because the targets really go to double digits, and sooner or later, people are really going to wake up to that. And I don't know how else I can say it to you guys, but to me, it's very, very clear. And if you were to be extremely, extremely, like on some serious opium, honestly, this is just crazy. I don't even want to say what that price target is, but I don't think it'll happen in one cycle. It might happen over the next 1 or 2 cycles, where we get a triple digit XRP. But right now, guys, I'm just focusing on double digits. And I think it's very, very possible, and not out of the picture, that we do get to $15 range. And that's pretty much where I'm looking at, guys, right? So again, this is just taking a fractal. You get up to $11 easily, and if you use Fibonacci extension tools, you can get up to 15, 20 even on the higher end. But I'm going to sit somewhere in the middle, 13, 15, 12. I'm cool with all of that, all right? So with that, thank you guys for making it to the end of the video. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, hodl, hodl, hodl. Peace.